Hello, good morning and welcome to today's class. In today's class, we'll be looking at simple equations. And in simple equations, we'll be looking at the change of subject of formulae. Let's define a formula or a formulae. A formulae is an equation in which letters represent quantities. Formulae occurs in several physical and daily activities. There are situations that necessitate the rearrangement of equations. These result in change of subject of formula. And I have an example for you on the board, where we are asked, example 1 says, the formula for the velocity of a moving object is v is equal to u plus at, and we are to make u, a, and t the subject respectively. So in making u the subject of the formula, we are going to reposition other quantities that are not needed to the other side of the equation. Making u the subject of the formula simply means making u to stand alone while every other variable is being moved to the other side, while u, which is the subject of the formula, is made to stand at the left hand side. Making a variable subject of the formula most times requires that variable to stand alone on the left hand side. So from this simple equation, we are going to make u the subject of the formula. And so we have v is equal to u plus at. Making u the subject of the formula means I'm going to take positive 80 from the right hand side to the left hand side. And how do you do that? In taking 80 to the other side of the equation, we undo what has been done in this equation. If you look at this equation, we have v is equals to u plus 80. So 80 is that variable which needs to move to the other side of the equation, making u to stand alone. So in order for us to undo that, we do the opposite of what has been done. If you look at the right hand side, we have it that u is added to 80. So the opposite of addition is what? Subtraction. So thereby, I'm going to subtract 80 from both sides. So you write subtract 80 from both sides, meaning from the right hand side I'll subtract 80 as well as from the left hand side. So we have v minus 80 is equal to u plus 80 minus 80. Okay, now my u did not come up. Okay, so I have subtracted 80 from both sides. Now you agree with me that 80 minus 80 is equal to 0. So this is going to cancel this, so that I have v minus 80 is equal to u. By doing this, I have made u the subject of the formula. And let me use this side of the board, and I can now take u to the other side of the equation, thereby having u is equal to v minus 80. So u has been made subject of the formula. Next, they said we should make a the subject of the formula. Make u, a, and t the subject of the formula. We have made u the subject of the formula from this expression. V u is equal to v plus 80, v minus 80. So I'm going to make a the subject of the formula. You can either go back to this equation to make a the subject of the formula, or from that which you have gotten this equation that says u is equals to v minus 80, you can either use this or this to make either of both the subject of the formula. So I'm going to go back to equation 1, this equation, and simplify it, making A the subject of the formula. So let's do that. So from the equation, let me target B. We have V is equal to U plus AT. V is equal to U plus AT. Now, in order for me to make A the subject of the formula, all I have to do is to first of all undo what has been done. You will discover that U is being added to AT. So I'm to make A the subject of the formula, and in order for me to make A the subject of the formula, I'm going to first of all move U to the other side before I'm going to undo the multiplication of A and T. So by doing this, I will subtract U from both sides. Why am I subtracting U? Because the opposite of addition is subtraction. Since U is carrying a positive sign, I'm going to subtract it from both sides in order for it to be made, in order for it to move to the other side. So subtracting U from both sides, we have V minus, say subtract U from both sides, V minus U is equal to 80, because U has been subtracted from both sides. I now have 80 on the right hand side. So what I'm going to do next is to undo the operation of multiplication which was done with A and T. So therefore I'm going to say divide both sides by T, because T is a variable which needs to move to the other side. So when you divide both sides by T, you're going to have V minus U over T is equal to A T over T. T is going to cancel T, and we'll then have A is equal to V minus U over T as our equation 2. So finally, we have made V, A, the subject of the formula. And the question says we should make U, A, and T the subject respectively. I have made A, U the subject of the formula from this equation 1, and also equation 2, I have made A the subject of the formula. So next is for me to make T the subject of the formula. So just like I said, you can take from equation 2, equation 1, or from the initial equation, and from there you can make T the subject of the formula. But I'm going to go back to the equation 1, which says, let me call this C, that V is equal to U plus AT. Now is to make T the subject of the formula, I'll first of all subtract U from both sides as usual before I'll undo the multiplication of A and T. So we'll say subtract U from both sides. When you do that, you are going to have V minus U is equal to 80. I have subtracted U from both sides. Then I'm to make T the subject of the formula. So instead of me dividing both sides by A as I did in making both sides by T as I did by making A the subject of the formula, this time I'm going to divide both sides by A, because A is the unwanted quantity in this side. So I'm going to divide. We say divide both sides by A, and I'm going to have, we'll have V minus U is equal to 80, divide here by T, divide here by a and also divide here by a. A will cancel a, and we have our equation as t is equals to u, t is equals to v minus u divided by a. So we have ended up making t the subject of the formula. So this is how you can make either of the variables subjects of the formula. We are going to solve more examples to drive home our point. In this second example, we are asked to make t the subject of the formula. Now you discover that on the right hand side we have a variable r. On the left hand side we have a variable r, but on the right hand side we have a fraction where the numerator is a sum of s and t, while at the denominator we have the product of s and t. So when you have an equation like this where the left hand side is a fraction and the right hand side is a variable, all you need to do is to first of all clear the fractions in both sides. And how do you clear the fractions? You clear the fraction by doing the opposite of division, and the opposite of division is what? Multiplication. So we are going to multiply both sides by the denominator. So we said multiply both side by st, so as to clear the fraction, so that on the left hand side we have r times st is equal to right hand side s plus t over st times st over 1. Now you discover that st will cancel st, and we will now have rst is equal to s plus t. Now we are to make t the subject of the formula, but you discover that t is appearing both on the left hand side and on the right hand side. So what we'll do next is to collect like terms. So we say collect like terms, and what in this case is a like term? We have s as our like term, t as our like term. So I'm going to move t to the other side of the equation, which I have on the left hand side. I have rst minus t is equal to s plus t minus t. What I just did is to subtract t from both sides, where this will cancel, t will cancel t, and on the right hand side on the left hand side we have rst minus t is equal to s. Now I have collected like terms. Now I'm going to factorize out t, because we have t both on the two terms of the left hand side. So by factorizing t, you have t into bracket rs minus 1 is equal to s. We have ended up factorizing out t. I'm going to divide both sides by rs minus 1, being that rs minus 1 needs to move to the other side, making t the subject of the formula. So I'm going to divide here by rs minus 1, and as well as divide the right hand side by rs minus 1, so that rs minus 1 will cancel this, and our t becomes s over rs minus 1 as the subject of the formula. So by this we have made t the subject of the formula. We are going to take more examples. In this next example, we are to make a the subject of the formula. If you look at the right hand side, we have a constant c, while on the left hand side we have a plus t. And making a the subject of the formula, I say, is to make a stand alone while every other variable is on the right hand side. So how do I make A the subject of the formula when A is added to B? So I'm going to undo the operation of addition, and the opposite of addition is what? Subtraction. So it therefore means that I'm going to subtract B from both sides, having, okay, let's put it down, subtract B from both sides. And when you do that, you are going to have A plus B minus B is equal to C minus B, of which we know that minus B plus B is 0 and A is equals to C minus B. So that's what you are going to have as A being the subject of the formula. Another example, and in this example we are asked to make A the subject of the formula. So if you look at this example, we have A being multiplied by X and added to B to give you D. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the opposite of what has been done. If you look at it, A was first of all multiplied by X before being added to B. I'm going to do the opposite, starting with the last operation which has been done. So I'm going to first of all undo the operation of addition, which is subtraction, before I undo the operation of multiplication, which is division. So first of all, subtract B from both sides, and when you subtract B from both sides, you are going to have AX plus B minus B is equal to D minus B, of which B minus B plus B minus B gives you 0, leaving you with AX is equals to D minus B. Now we have undo the addition operation. Next is to undo the multiplication operation, which by this we are going to divide. We say divide both sides by the variable which is not needed, which is what? X, so that A can stand alone. So by doing that, we are going to have AX over X is equals to D minus B over X. X will cancel X, and we have A to be equal to D minus B over X. So this is making A the subject of the formula. Let's take more examples and see. In this next example, we are asked to make also A the subject of the formula. But looking at it, you discover that on the left hand side we have A over B plus B, and on the right hand side we have C. So just like we did in the first example, in this left hand side we have both division and addition. So we'll first of all undo the operation of addition before we undo the operation of division. I'm going to subtract B from both sides. So I have A over X plus B minus B is equals to C minus B, plus B will cancel minus B, leaving us with A over X is equals to C minus B. Next is to undo the operation of division, which is what? Multiplication. Some persons will say you cross multiply, but in essence what we are actually doing is multiplying both sides by X. So I'm going to have A over X times X is equal to C minus B. We say multiply both sides, so I'm putting it in bracket, times X. So when you do this, this X will cancel X, and we'll have A is equal to bracket c minus b times x, or you can bring x before the bracket to have a is equals to x into bracket c minus b. So this is your equation. Another example which we'll look at says we should make a the subject of the formula. In this example, you discover that we have a appearing twice on the left hand side and as a fraction. So we are going to see how we can factorize out a. With your knowledge of factorization, you can easily factorize out a from this equation and undo the fractions. And how do we undo the fractions? We'll get the LCM of those fractions and multiply both sides by the LCM. So let's first of all factorize out a. So if you factorize out a, you have a into bracket 1 over y minus 1 over z is equal to 1. Now, we can easily multiply or divide both sides by what we have in this bracket. But in order for us to make it easier for you, what you will do is to first of all simplify this fraction. And how do we simplify this fraction? By looking for the LCM of y and z. And the LCM of y and z is yz. Yz divided by y will give you z, and z times 1 is going to give us z minus, and z into yz is y. Y times 1 will give us y, which is equals to 1. So we have this. So we are going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal of what we have in this bracket. So by doing that, we are going to have this. So I'm going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal of z minus y over z, which will be a into bracket z minus y over yz times yz over bracket z minus y is equal to 1 being multiplied by yz over z minus y. Then you discover that this will cancel this, and we'll have a is equal to 1 times this is yz over z minus 1, because 1 times anything gives you that thing. So we have it at yz over z minus y as our answer. So this is what you have when you are asked to make a the subject of the formula. In this next example, we are being asked to make a the subject of the formula. So we have x bracket a plus b is equal to t. So the first thing you do is to divide both sides. Since we are to make a the subject of the formula, we'll first of all divide both sides by s, which will have s into bracket a plus b over s is equal to t over x, and x will cancel x, and I have a plus b is equal to t over x. Now next thing to do is to take b from both sides, your answer. Next example says we should make x the subject of the formula. Same step, you first of all take y squared to the other side of the equation by subtracting y squared from both sides, leaving us with x squared plus y squared minus y squared is equals to a squared over b squared minus y squared plus y squared minus y squared is 0. We have x squared is equal to a squared over b squared minus y squared. This can be simplified to be x squared is equals to a over b all squared minus y squared, and this is a difference of 2 squares, so this can be simplified further to be x squared is equal to bracket a over b minus y bracket a over b plus y. So getting the square root of both sides, we have square root of x squared is equal to square root of bracket a over b minus y multiplied by bracket a over b plus y. Square root will cancel square, leaving us with x being equal to square root of bracket a over b minus y into bracket a over b plus y as our final answer. Let's take the second to the last example, which we have as this. To make x the subject of the formula, same steps. Take by squared to the other side of the equation, and we'll have x squared plus by squared minus by squared is equal to 1 minus by squared minus by squared plus by squared is 0, leaving us with x squared is equal to 1 minus by squared. This cannot be simplified to be a difference of 2 squares, so we are going to have this, which implies we'll now find the square root of both sides. So look for square root of x squared is equal to square root of 1 minus by squared. Square, we cancel square root, and we'll have x is equal to square root of 1 minus by squared as our answer. Taking the last example, says we should make x the subject of the formula. But looking at it, we have x in the 3 brackets. So first and foremost, what we are going to do is to see how we can factorize out x by expanding this bracket. So doing so, I'll have bracket bx plus a to multiply with ax plus b, after which I will equally open the second bracket, the third bracket at the other side of the equation. So we have bx, we are going to use this fraction, this bracket to multiply this, use this term to multiply this, as well as we'll take this also, use it to multiply this, and also use this to multiply this. And when you do that, you have bx times ax to give us abx squared, and bx times b will give us plus b squared x. When you multiply a times ax, you have plus a squared x, and when you multiply a times b, you are going to have plus ab. While on the right hand side, we are going to use b to multiply the bracket, and that will give us abx squared plus b squared. Remember, we are to make x squared x the subject of the formula, but since we have abx squared on both sides, they can cancel out by subtracting abx squared from both sides, leaving us with b squared x plus a squared x plus ab is equal to b squared. So let me write this: b squared x plus a squared x plus ab is equal to b squared. So what I'm going to do is to factorize out x, since we have to make x the subject of the formula. So we are going to have x into bracket b squared plus a squared, then plus ab minus b squared. Next, I'm going to take ab to the other side of the equation, leaving us with x into bracket b squared plus a squared is equal to b squared minus ab. So I can also factorize out b from this side, but is there any need? No, so I'm going to leave it this way. Next, in order for us to make x the subject of the formula, is to divide both sides by bracket b squared plus a squared. And when you do that, you have something like this. So that b squared plus ab will cancel out, and we'll have x is equal to b squared minus ab over b squared plus a squared. Please, on no account must you divide b, cancel out this b squared. It is not mathematical. So this is the likely questions you may meet when you are dealing with change of subjects of formulas. But in the next example I'm going to take, we are going to have a different set of formulas which will require us to also make to also show us how we can make each of the variable subjects of the formula. I would like to thank you for staying with us in this lesson, and if you have benefited from what I have done, you can subscribe to this channel to get more of our YouTube videos. And if there's a particular topic which you like us to treat, which is pressing to you, you can suggest it under the comment section, and you have a video prepared for you. Thank you, and God bless.